Today, we are going to talk about why some ad platforms will struggle in the future.
So Apple ended up rolling out a change that affected Snap and Facebook and Instagram and a lot of these ad companies, in which they pretty much have this notification saying, do you want to be tracked? And by not being tracked, it actually affects Facebook's ability to serve you up better ads. According to Mint, right, which is a website called, you can go find the URL on livemint.com, but they have this whole article on Google. And it ends up breaking down and talks about how Google's following Apple's footsteps to allow users to stop apps from tracking them across the internet. And Apple ended up doing this earlier on, and it caused Facebook, I think, Eric, you mentioned, to lose around $10 billion in revenue. So, and it says, as part of Google Play service update in late 2021, so we haven't experienced it yet, that advertising ID will remove when a user opts out of personalization using advertising ID in Android settings. Any attempts to access the identifier will receive a string of zeros instead of the identifier. Okay, and then it also says, to help reduce developers and ad and analytics service providers with compliance efforts and respect to user choice, they'll be able to receive notifications for opt-out preferences. Additionally, app targeting in Android 12 will need to declare a Google Play services normal permission in the manifest file. In essence, all they're doing is they're pretty much replicating what Apple's doing, and this is going to hurt Facebook really hard in the future.
It makes a lot of sense.
Hurt Snap and others as well.
It makes a lot of sense. And by the way, what Apple did was a genius move. Like I read this article on Axios where they're just saying like they ran this change under the guise of like, oh, it's all about user privacy and all that. And so for them, it's like, yeah, we're all about user privacy. And meanwhile, as of this recording, their ad business, Apple's, is about $4 billion a year, right? And it's going to continue to grow because they have whoever has first party data, they're going to win, right? And so this is why a lot of companies that have volume now, even Uber, when I order an Uber, there's an ad there, right? Like DoorDash, for example, they're all running ads. Eventually, if you have a lot of traffic and you have first party data, it actually makes sense for you to start an ad platform. So Google has first party data, Apple has first party data as well. The issue for Facebook is they're relying so much on other people, or not even just Facebook, sorry, Meta or Snap. And so if you have the advantage, if you have first party data, you win, and you're going to struggle in the long term if you don't.
So for you, just be prepared for this. And the reason this is super important is if your business is really relying on Facebook or Snapchat or social ads, you should consider diversifying and taking an omni-channel approach. If you don't, you're going to find that your revenue is going to even decrease even more in the future. So make sure you take an omni-channel approach with your marketing.
I mean, that's why we're saying the hot topic is building a media company, because you can diversify yourself and that you can have your own kind of first party data in a sense, right? If you have your own email list, if you have traffic coming to your site, you can always get banned by Google. But then if you have like an SMS list too, you have a little more control is what I'm saying. Not necessarily all of that's first party, but you leave yourself more options, more optionality when you're able to build a media company. I mean, you think of this podcast as an example. We're running ads on our own. We're not running ads through any network or anything like that. And so, it's because we've built an audience that way. So think about that, build an audience, then build a community, and then you're going to be a little more insulated from a lot of these changes. And we know a lot of people that have just relied on these platforms. And the last, couple of years have been easy mode, but now a lot, especially e-commerce companies now that have really relied on kind of Meta and Google, they're in trouble, right? It's just not as easy anymore. So please don't forget, take a picture of this to social, tag Neil or myself, and then we'll try to reshare it, IG, Twitter, wherever, and we'll catch you later.